Hey everybody, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program Career Mode. My name's REinstein, and today we're continuing off from where we left it in the last episode, which is we've landed on IKE, and our intention is to use the very same rocket to transition over to Duna, and on our way collect as much science as possible. Now, there's a few things I just want to tell you about IKE before we leave. I've been researching it and I just wanted to find out a bit more about it. So IKE actually has 8 biomes. It's covered in steep rocky slopes, which is why you need to be careful about where you land. And its tallest point is 12.75 kilometers, which is quite frankly very, very high. So yeah, just be careful. That's one of the reasons why I use Kerbal Engineer Redux, because it helps you know what the altitude of the terrain is by the top right hand corner here, and actually what altitude you're currently at. So yeah, it's important to know these kind of things. Now what I'm going to do essentially is take off vertically, and then I've pressed the Q and E buttons to turn my nav ball basically around. Oh, we've run out of fuel. To turn my nav ball around so that the orange line is pointing downwards. That way I know that if I burn to the right, 90 degrees, or yeah, burn horizontally to the right, then I'll be able to get an orbit around IKE, which will be in the same plane as the orbit around Duna, as you can see from our little maneuver node here. So yeah, essentially all I'm going to do is accelerate, get into an orbit, and then try and transition from the IKE orbit into an orbit around Duna, and then lower ourselves onto Duna. Now before we go any further, while we're floating up around here, I'm just going to gather some science, because you can see there's a temperature scan we can do and a pressure scan. So let's gather those before we miss our opportunity. Probably missed some already. We still need to do Mr. Magoo and our Science Junior research, but I'm not going to use them here. In fact, Mr. Magoo we've run out of anyway. So the Science Junior I'm actually going to use when we land on Duna. Now, our apoapsis is 83,000 meters out, so I'm just going to circularize my orbit now. And do remember that IKE has pretty much zero gravity. It's, you know, it's got no atmosphere to speak of and very, very low gravity. So it's pretty easy to land on. It's one of the easiest planets. I think it's one of the smallest moons or celestial bodies on the game. And it's a doddle to get to, shall we say, as you hopefully will have seen and followed in our last episode. Now, if you take a look over to the right, we've got just under 2,000 meters per second delta V left now, which should be enough to transfer us over to Duna. And before I go any further, I'm just going to beam back the data we've got. Keep an eye on your electric charge, guys, because if you run out of electric charge, then you... Oh, no. Let's review data and send it. Yeah, if you run out of electric charge, then you are going to struggle to control your ship. It will probably become uncontrollable, and you'll be left in whatever trajectory you're heading while your ship tries to recover and gather up as much sunlight as it can to turn into electricity. So there we go. We're floating around IKE now. And now I just want to figure out, okay, how am I going to get captured by Duna? So I think I can do it relatively easily anywhere. There's probably an optimal position where you can escape IKE's gravitational pull and be pulled into the orbit of Duna. It's probably an optimal one, but I don't know it, so if anyone does know and wants to share that, please feel free. But this works for me, so we've only got to wait 30 seconds in order to do our transition into Duna orbit, and it only requires a delta V of 84.8, which is lovely. So, but if we burn too fast, we may end up escaping out into solar orbit around the sun, which is not what we want. Alright, now let's keep an eye on our little X-Science module up there and see if any more science is to be gathered. And it is. Immediately, as soon as we enter our Duna orbit, we can see that we can gather temperature, atmospheric pressure, mystery goo, and materials information. So once again, we will log that data, send that back. Log the pressure data, send that back, and right, let's work out how we're going to land on Duna here. So, it looks like something weird is happening here. I wonder what that is. What body is that there? It looks like we're going to encounter IKE again. That's very strange. That was not what we saw previously. So, what I will do is do a little burn here, and that will, looks like it will get me back into an orbit of Duna. Let's see how this rolls. Okay, ready? Let's do our burn now. So yeah, we're going to escape the pull of Duna. Lovely. That should work. Let's fast forward time. Actually, I'm just going to quick save here and see how this works. Away we go. I-ho, Silver and beyond, etc. No, we've been captured into Duna, into Ike's orbit again. How bizarre, but it looks like we're going to fly around it and then get captured into Duna again. There we go. Wow, that's weird. Okay, fine. Celestial physics sometimes bamboozles me, but here we go. I'm just going to set my new maneuver so that we can burn down towards Duna. So if I get my periapsis below 50,000 meters, then we'll start to experience atmospheric effects on our rocket, which will help us slow down. So I'm going to put my periapsis, or aim for a periapsis of about 33,000 meters as my closest approach to Duna. And that's going to require a delta V change on our part of 295.4, and we've still got 1828. So we're still going to have a little bit left over to use rockets if we need them during our descent, which is perfect. Okay, this is quite tricky to talk and do the maneuvers at the same time, but I think I'm doing a relatively good job. And there may be some science we can gather once we hit our periapsis, or once we get within 50,000 meters here. Let's see what our periapsis is now. 34,000. That's not too bad. Good accuracy, Reiny. Alright, let's fast forward and slowly orbit Duna. Where is Duna? There it is. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. I love... Can you just imagine going to all these places? Oh, it's like if this is the Mars equivalent, can you imagine how scary it would be? Or how exciting, depends on how you think, to actually get to and land on Mars. And, you know, they want to set up a colony on there. Can you imagine? Oh my god, you'd be so far away from home. It's not like you can get a bus back to go and see your family. Oh, it's terrifying. Ugh. Right, there we go. We gathered some more science, and that was outside the atmosphere. So yeah, I think once we're in the atmosphere, there'll be again more science, and then once we land, again more science. There we go. Yeah, so we're below 50,000 meters, and you see immediately we've got temperature and pressure scans available. So once more, we'll grab those. That's another 27 science. We're going to be rich in science after this. There is something I want to show you actually, which I'm going to be planning for an upcoming video, and that is that our solar orbital research station, if you remember it from an earlier video, actually doesn't have enough power to send back all the research points it's accumulated. So I think I'm going to have to fly out a rocket to dock with it, with the newly unlocked solar panels that I've got, which are basically the big solar arrays. That might be an idea, and that may form the basis of an upcoming video. Right, I think we're starting to go through the atmosphere, or if I'm not mistaken, the thickest part of the atmosphere is around 30,000 meters, but I may be wrong on that. Let's see how our apoapsis and periapsis are being affected by the gravitational pull here. Yeah, so you can see the apoapsis is slowly but surely being reduced, but I don't think on this pass it's going to pull us in quick enough to do a landing. So what I think I will do is use some of the spare delta V I've got to reduce my speed and get a landing spot. There we go. That looks quite nice, although it does look a bit dangerous. Quite hilly there, although it's unclear how hilly it is. Okay, well, there's one little trick up my sleeve which I can use, because we don't know how high the terrain is going to be. Just take a look up here. Currently our altitude is 32,000 meters, but the altitude of the terrain is only 27, nearly 28,000 meters. So what I'm going to do is get my parachutes to open as early as possible, and I can set them to deploy at 5,000 meters. And I'm going to do something very similar with the main parachutes as well. I'm going to get them to deploy at maybe 4,000 meters. I'm just guessing here. This is not scientific at all. There we go, and then this one on top, we'll set that to 4,000 as well. So essentially our drogue unit, our drogue parachutes are going to deploy first, slow us down, hopefully, enough. So we've still got a little bit of delta V left, and then we can use our main parachutes to land. This is going to be quite tricky, And I think I'll open up my landing legs just to create a bit more drag on our rocket. I can turn on the aerodynamic forces here. And you can see there's very few working on our rocket. And, oh dear, this is looking quite dodgy. Our altitude is 15,000, but the altitude of the terrain is only 9,000. Bit of a dodgy landing spot, methinks. Okay, well, let's see how this goes. You never know. We might be okay. Let's fast forward a bit more. Keep your fingers crossed, guys. I might use as much Delta V as I can here. And descend. It's not the best landing spot. Perhaps I should have aimed for a polar landing spot, but never mind. I think we can achieve our objective here, providing I'm a little bit careful with balancing the resources that we have available. There we go. We're slowing down nicely. But you can see we're speeding up again as the gravity pulls on us. Let's try and deploy our parachutes, and it worked. Brilliant. Rightio, let's deploy our other parachutes. Oh dear, we're coming in way too fast. Oh, he's pulled it off. Oh, just about managed to stop us in time. Jesus Christ, that was dangerous. Ah, REinstein, you've done it, and we've landed at about 2.6 meters per second. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo, that was close. Ah, okay, take a deep breath and recover from that dangerous landing. Let's observe our Mr. Magoo now. Now, unfortunately, we're only going to get 35 out of the available 100 science here, which is slightly disappointing, but it's one of those things. We don't have enough Delta V to fly back to Kerbin, so never mind. It is what it is. We can get another 24 science from doing an atmospheric pressure scan from Duna's Highlands. Now, Duna's Highlands is one of the 5 biomes that are on Duna. Duna's actually the 4th largest planet in the Kerbal system as well. And the terrain ranges, as we kind of saw when we were landing, the terrain ranges from 124 meters to 8,264 meters, which is really high. And currently we are 5,600 meters up. That's where we've landed. So quite a high mountain, quite a steep one. It's got a thin atmosphere. And look at that. You can see Ike in the background. That is the money shot right there. That's about it for me, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it, learnt something perhaps, and enjoyed that dangerous landing. But for now, REinstein is out of here. Actually, yes. No, I will go now. Thank you ever so much for watching. Please leave a like and send me your thoughts. Take care, guys. I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.